The reason why we don't look like agents is because what we've been able to do is get old. No, well, we're older. We've done it a long time, and we've kind of gone through a lot of the building period. So now we're in that phase where we're helping the other agents to build that, right? Like, so we're giving out this information and all these things that are going to actually get them there. And that's more fun, right? Because now this is kind of the agencies themselves sort of go on autopilot.
What kind of insurance are you guys selling?
P&C, property and casualty,
Do any-
with micro margins.
It's a tough racket.
Most agents do buy books of business. So this is a very good conversation, but you don't work on the level of scale of an agent. You're a little bit higher.
We typically work with what we call middle market, lower middle market companies, and that's revenues of roughly 20 million up to whatever, 300 million, or earnings, this horrible acronym that you hear in business called EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, invented by a cable TV executive. We love it. Seriously, John Malone was the guy's name. We love acronyms in M&A. There you go. In fact, we love ampersands in them too. So if we could put an ampersand in EBITDA, that'd be even better. We'd be almost as wild and crazy as insurance guys. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
So tell us, I would love to know, since you wrote the For Dummies book, which is you're on the perfect podcast for that because we're your audience.
Yep.
As far as an insurance agent goes, buying an insurance agency, what are some tips? Like most insurance agents that get into this game and buy an agency, there's a lot of trust in other people, and we don't know as much about the M&A world. A lot of times it's like, he said it was a good book. Should I buy this? And you ask a couple people and they're like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. So like, what are some other tactics than asking your buddy if it's a good idea?
You sound like my mother when she walked me to kindergarten when I was 5 years old, and then she'd pick me up. And this went on for a few days. And then typical for my mother, she walked me to school and she said, okay, Billy, today you're going to walk home alone. You know how to get home, right? And I said, uh-huh. And I promptly got lost. Coming up with the good questions to ask. Should I buy this? You have to ask yourself, if you want to buy insurance agency, first of all, do you like rejection? Do you like people making fun of you? Okay.
Right.
So if you're not in the insurance business, you have to ask, do you have that kind of personality where you have stick-to-itness and perseverance? A million people are going to say no before somebody says yes and buys a product. Okay. Right. If you don't like that, if you don't like getting on the hamster wheel and dialing for dollars or emailing or whatever you can to drum up business and have most people say no to you, probably with a bit of invective and a few expletives, it's probably not for you. So if you've now crossed the Rubicon and you've decided insurance, of all the things I can do in the world, insurance is it. It perfectly lines up with my personality for whatever reason, and I'm a masochist. I enjoy being rejected. If this is where you have become, and you've gotten to that point, now you want to buy something, then I guess you want to look at the nature of what you're buying. Now, I don't know what the multiples are, how you price an agency, but if you're buying a book of business, how strong is that book of business? Are these people going to stay with you? Are they shopping? I mean, have they been there for a long time? Do they tend to be long-term customers, or do they look for a new insurance carrier every time they're up for renewal because they're looking for the best price or the right price? I got to imagine that's part of it too.
There are so many things that seem to be very unique to the insurance industry. Just weird things that normally people say, my industry is different, right? But actually in this case, I think that there are some things like, so for example, like an independent insurance agency or broker is going to go for some multiple of EBITDA, right? That isn't how it works for captive carrier. If you're with a captive carrier, it's a multiple of commission, not inclusive of bonus.
Yeah.
So you could have bonus 300K. That doesn't count as towards it when they figure it out. And that's only because this has just been the standard, right? And what's interesting, and I'd love you to apply some of your experience to this, is price or commissions are going down right now, right? The captive carriers are struggling with competing with the big 800 number ones, and they're squeezing the commissions down. So what's happening is there's consolidation, right? So the bigger agents are gobbling up the smaller agents, but we still have there's this pressure because of the declining commissions on that multiple. So normally in a regular business, it would be based off of, okay, well, this one actually performs better, has a higher retention, has all these things that we have very good analytics on, but it doesn't seem to really be a driving force right now on those multiples, and we're looking at like 2.25 of your comp, which is pretty low as a multiple.
I don't know enough about the insurance racket to give you whether that's good or bad, but that makes sense. Okay, if that's kind of the industry standard that's being used, then that's what you pay when you bought something, and that's what you can expect to sell it. Hopefully you've built up the business and can sell it for more. Everybody says, valuation. They also want to talk about valuation, and you might want to write this down, guys. There's another little bit of wisdom for you. This I'm going to give you the definition of the surefire way to understand valuation. A very complicated mathematical formula that largely depends upon what side I'm representing. That's a joke.
Right.
You insurance kid at home.
Aha.
It doesn't get better than this, okay? Well, so something is worth what somebody's going to pay for it. That's the bottom line. So valuation, you can come with all these models, and sometimes that's helpful to look at where other things have traded or some other metrics and so forth. But ultimately, something is worth what somebody else will pay for it and what the seller will accept. That's the bottom line. If you're selling something, you might think it's worth $100. But if all I offer is 50 and I'm the only person willing to bid, then it's either worth 50 if you accept it, or if you don't like my bid, sorry, I'm not going to sell to you. It's worth more. Then that would be your choice. But if you accept my price, then it's our price because we both agreed to this price.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
You,
sorry,
we'll see ya.
Gotta go. We were installing Windows today. Thanks, guys.
See ya.